family is shown at the start of the film. This family name was Collins family, including 3 family members. There is a small kid named Barnabas and his parents. It was a wealthy and joyous family, because Barnabas's father used to trade fishing. As a result, he used to gain a profit, and that company was renowned. And their state was Collinwood. With the passage of time, Barnabas has grown young, and he had an association with a girl named Angelique, serving in the palace. Angelique says to Barnabas, "Propose me for marriage." Barnabas answers on it, "I don't want to marry you." In fact, Barnabas was interested in someone else, and he wanted to marry that girl. So, Angelique is dispirited, and she wanted to take revenge Barnabas. So she makes Barnabas's parents die through the sorcery. And she also curses Barnabas that your beloved will meet her end. So Angelique makes that girl commit suicide after enchanting her. Being dejected, Barnabas also commits suicide. But Angelique approaches there before the death of Barnabas, and she curses Barnabas to be a devilish vampire. Consequently, Barnabas' soul becomes eternal. Then Angelique gathers the people of that place, and she declares that Barnabas is a vampire, so she buries him under the mound of earth. The time of 200 years is passed after this event, where a girl comes on the scene who was moving to the same palace, Collinwood, in search of job. And the name of that girl is Victoria. As she enters the palace, Collinwood, she reveals, "Going there, I have come here for a job." And she asks after seeing the hanged photo of Barnabas that, "Who is he?" Suddenly, the lady owner of that palace arrives there. Her name is Elizabeth, and she reveals all information about the palace to Victoria. She says to Victoria that I am appointing you for my nephew. Victoria collects information about the mother of that kid, who was the sister of Elizabeth. Elizabeth tells that his mother was died, drowning into the sea. Then Elizabeth introduces Victoria with his son, and Victoria confronts that kid's father at the dining table. At the same time, Elizabeth's friend arrives there who was a psychiatrist. The same kid comes to frighten Victoria, covering with a piece of cloth. Elizabeth tells that kid, "She is your new governess now on." That kid says, "My mother is not dead." Victoria supports that kid in this matter, which spreads a smile on that kid's face. Afterwards, Victoria moves to her room, where someone had appeared to frighten her, covering him in a piece of cloth. She finds a ghost, uncovering the piece of cloth. It tells Victoria he is arriving. Understanding nothing, Victoria chases that ghost. After this, it is observed that some people were performing the construction work, where they find a coffin in a grave while digging. Barnabas is freed as they open that coffin. He attacks them one by one. Then he kills them while sucking their blood. Then he asks a man, "Tell me, is there any alive Collins family member?" That man tells, "Yeah. There are 4 members remained in the Collins family." Barnabas makes him his slave after hypnotizing him. As a result, Barnabas comes to know that 200 years have passed. Then Barnabas moves to his place Collinwood. Going there, he encounters Elizabeth's daughter and her nephew. That kid says to Elizabeth's daughter, "That painter is still here." Then they both introduce themselves with each other. They tell Collins family is our inheritance. Then Elizabeth arrives there, where Barnabas reveals his whole past story to her. He also tells along with it that I am a vampire, and I never lost my breath as being eternal. He also exposes the treasure and the secret passage of the palace. He also gives his words to Elizabeth that there will be no harm for your family because of my cursed existence. Elizabeth says after witnessing a lot of treasure that we did not know about this treasure for many years ago. Barnabas requests, "I want to be the member of your family while residing here." Elizabeth consents him, and she also says along with it, "It will be a secret only between us." Barnabas meets the rest of the family members later, and he asks about his trade of fishing. Elizabeth tells, the trade of fishing is nearly to end, because Angelique has possessed it. She had purchased all the fishermen. Barnabas says on it, you need not to worry about it. I have come back. I will amend everything. Meantime, Victoria appears there, and Barnabas gives her a pet name according to his will. After this, Angelique is shown whose trade of fishing was going on successfully. Angelique comes to know the murders occurred in the forest. Then Angelique herself moves there to inspect. Visiting there, she knows that Barnabas had freed from his grave. She gets the point that Barnabas might have visited to his palace, Collinwoods. So Angelique also goes to Collinwoods. Reaching there, she asks about Barnabas from Elizabeth. Afterwards, Angelique encounters Barnabas. They begin to recall their memories as being familiar with each other. Barnabas says to him, you did not act sympathetically with me. You put my beloved end, and you turned me into vampire after cursing. However, Angelique offers comforting words, saying, forget it all, because I want to restart my life with you. But Barnabas rejects her for this. Here, Barnabas also knows that it is actually Angelique who has spoiled their business. After this, Barnabas takes a new start of his company, investing the money of treasure. And Angelique feels ill for this. She is envied. Then that psychiatrist hypnotizes Barnabas, where it is revealed to her that Barnabas is actually a vampire. Then she immediately goes to Elizabeth. She asks her, why did you keep it secret from me? That Barnabas is a vampire. He is murderer, so it is unsuitable to keep him at palace. Get him out of the palace, Elizabeth says on it. No, he will leave nowhere. He will stay with us in this palace, because he is also the member of our Collins family. Afterwards, Barnabas and Victoria are befriended, and they had started to spend much of their time with each other. Angelique arranges a gathering to meet Barnabas. Then Barnabas goes to her office to meet her. Angelique says to him, sell your company to me. But Barnabas openly refuses it. And he says to Angelique, you are behind the destruction of my business. Then that psychiatrist trickily puts Barnabas' blood out. The Victoria dreams of her childhood. As being a child, she used to view the ghosts. Being irritated, her parents sent her into the psychiatric hospital. In fact, Victoria used to view only the ghost of a girl, and that ghost girl used to show Victoria only a one scene, as she is committing suicide. Then Barnabas and Elizabeth arranges a celebration party for starting the company. Then Victoria and Barnabas meet with each other, where Victoria reveals his childhood fact, that my parents sent me to the mental hospital when I was a child, thinking it as I am cursed, because she used to glimpse the ghosts. Angelique also participates in that party. Then she moves to Barnabas. She is envied, witnessing Barnabas and Victoria together. Then the father of that kid goes after leaving him, so that kid is grieved. Then he runs to his room. Then a disco ball is going to fall on that kid from Barnabas's location. But Barnabas rescues that kid, running speedily. At the same time, sun sheds its light on Barnabas, which causes his burning. As a result, it is revealed to all the people that Barnabas is not a human but a vampire. Witnessing it, all leave from there. Then Barnabas comes to Victoria, but she also leaves from there. Then Barnabas goes to Angelique and says, "Make me normal." Contrarily, Angelique alleges Barnabas that you committed many murders in the forest. Barnabas says, "It was not intentionally what I did. You are the root of them." Angelique threatens him. "I can also do the same with you what I did 200 years ago. I have also hypnotized Victoria so she may also end after committing suicide." And she offers him, "Have a partnership with me. Otherwise I will bury you in the grave again." Barnabas clearly refuses it, and Angelique again makes him lock in the coffin. Then she again brings Colin's company at loss. Elizabeth's nephew approaches the grave as Angelique leaves from there, and he unlocks that coffin. Barnabas asks that kid, how many years have passed? That kid says on it, not much time but 20 minutes. Afterwards, Angelique goes to the police. She reveals that Colin's family had given a shelter to a vampire, a killer, so she moves to Collinwood with police, so she could arrest the whole family by police. Meantime, Barnabas approaches there and confesses, yeah, I am a vampire. I am a murderer, and I confess all my wrongdoings. He also tells along with it, Angelique is responsible for everything. He sucks the blood of Angelique to expose her reality. But Angelique does not get any harm because she was not a human but a witch. Then the fight is held between Angelique and Barnabas. Then Elizabeth's daughter interrupts them, who had transformed into werewolf. Elizabeth is left shocked, seeing her daughter as such. Then fight starts between Angelique and Elizabeth's daughter. But Angelique does not let her face for a long time through sorcery. Elizabeth asks Angelique furiously, tell me what you did with my daughter. Angelique reveals that I had your daughter bitten by the werewolf in her childhood. And it was me who drowned your sister and the mother of that kid into sea. And she tells Barnabas, it was also me who killed your parents. At that time, Elizabeth's nephew approaches there, and he threatens Angelique. And Angelique says to him, I will end you first. Angelique is proceeding to that kid to end that kid. Then the ghost of that kid's mother appears there, and it shouts at Angelique. As a result, Angelique is struck with electrolyre, and that electrolyre falls down. Now Angelique was badly injured. Then Barnabas warns everyone, leave the house immediately. At first sight, the whole house catches the fire. Then Elizabeth comes outside, taking everyone. Barnabas's salve also moves outside, coming into senses. After this, Barnabas goes to Angelique, and he says to her, you never loved me. It was just the effect of your sorcery. Because you wanted to sway over me. Angelique says to him, no, you are not uttering truth. I have affections for you. Then she gives her heart to Barnabas, pulling it out, and Angelique dies before Barnabas. Afterwards, Barnabas goes out of the house in search of Victoria, who was going to the cliff to commit suicide as being enchanted by Angelique. Victoria is nearly to commit suicide after jumping. Then Barnabas stops her to do so, reaching there. Victoria says to him, we can never be united. You have lost me for a lifetime, because you are a vampire. You dwell in darkness while I stay in light. Barnabas says, we will somehow get the solution of it. Victoria says, hearing it, there is only one way. Saying it, she jumps off the cliff. Barnabas also jumps off along with her. But Barnabas bites him before they're falling on the ground. Barnabas thinks after falling on the ground that Victoria is no more. Meanwhile, Victoria opens her eye, transforming into a vampire. She says to Barnabas, don't call me Victoria. Call me by your given pet name. Today, I have also turned into a vampire like you. Then they are united with each other forever. And the movie also completes on this scene. Thank you.